All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the LA Sports Brotherhood. It's me, Ryan, with my brother Matthew, here to talk some Lakers basketball and some general championship basketball overall. So to that point, we're going to look at the top four from each seed before we get into the Lakers' chances, just to identify which teams we think can actually win a championship. So, like looking at the East right now, Matthew, the Celtics, the Bucks, I haven't looked at these actually. The Cavs are the third seed, and the Magic are the fourth seed. Do any of those top four teams stand out to you as like legit championship contenders?
I think it stops after two. I think it's been Celtics Bucks all year long, and I think it's gonna be Celtics Bucks in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, and as Laker fans, at least for me, knowing the Bucks are the biggest competition to the Celtics doesn't make me feel great because I don't know what the Bucks are going to be doing. Um, Honestly, I agree with the top four 100%, especially with the Magic and the four seed. That's crazy to me. I think, as always, honestly, the last couple of years, the Heat are probably the second biggest contenders to me, especially if Jimmy can come back healthy. Because the Bucks, the way I look at championship contention in basketball is like if they made the finals, if they won a championship, would I be surprised? So I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks win. So to me that's being contender. But honestly, I would be surprised if they beat the Celtics. If the Celtics get knocked out before the Bucks, then the Bucks to me are by far the East favorite. But yeah, so like I got Celtics, kind of Bucks, and Heat honestly more than anything. I was considering even having the Knicks as like a dark horse, knock the Celtics out, maybe get a last year Heat finals run. But Julius Randle's out, and I don't know how that's gonna work for them. But yeah, okay. So Eastern Conference, not very deep. It's kind of like a real classic Eastern Conference time. There's like one or two legit contenders. Everyone else is kind of mid. And then we go to the West. And honestly, I don't know how different I feel about this. We got Timberwolves first, Nuggets second. Well, they're tied for first and second. Thunder third, Clippers fourth, and then we got the Mavs and Suns fifth and sixth. Of the Western Conference, how many legit contenders do you think? Of the Western Conference top seeds, I should say.
I mean, this is tough to say. Nuggets for sure, obviously, just won it. But like you said, would you be surprised if they would win this? To be honest, I would be surprised with the Timberwolves, but I don't want to disrespect them too much. So I'll say, yeah, they're a contender. Nuggets for sure. Thunder, I'm just gonna say no, they're not a contender. I do not think they can make it all the way to the finals and then win it. And then Clippers, I don't know if this is tough. I don't want to look at any bias. I could, if they won the finals, I wouldn't be too surprised. But sum it up, I think Timberwolves and Clippers, I think technically can win it. Nuggets would be the favorite, and then the Thunder, I don't see them winning it.
Yeah.
I think, sorry to go past the first four, but I
No,
think the
no.
Suns could maybe fully healthy could give one of those four teams a run for their money.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. I was gonna say I appreciate you going to the Suns. Timberwolves, I think the Timberwolves and Thunder are on the same tier to me, except if the Timberwolves won, I would be less shocked. The Thunder, they've been, a good team, fun, whatever, they're young. I would be shocked if they won a championship this year. I would be shocked if they make it to the Western Conference Finals, if I'm being honest. I don't have a problem with them at all. I love Shea. The team's fine. Like, it's fine. It's not a bias thing. It's just they're young and they don't really have a second guy, and they have zero post or not post presence, but like interior presence. Chet is good. He's actually been really good this year, but I don't know if he's built for playoff level rim protection yet, and they have absolutely nobody behind him. So it's like I don't know. They're just not their year. They need to make some upgrades, but it's fine because they're going to be good if the Presti ever trades anybody for someone useful. Clippers to me, I skip the Nuggets because that's obvious. They're my favorites in the NBA right now, which is unfortunate, but it's true. Um, to me, I think the Clippers and Mavs are also similar tiers where I don't think they'll win a championship, but because they have the upper echelon guys, I wouldn't be surprised. Same thing with the Suns, actually. Those three, they got old vets and really crazy high end talent, but massive flaws, and like massive flaws that are continuously exploited against good teams. So It's a whole thing. Pels and Kings, absolutely not. Um, Lakers, we'll get to, I suppose. Warriors, no, I don't think so. Yeah. So to me, really, I mean, this is the case with every NBA season, no matter how much people want to talk about parity and oh, look at these new young teams and new stars. There are like four legit contenders in my mind, and it's the same thing every year. And you know why? It's because there are people that have been around winning MVPs doing it for a long time. The young up and comers, that doesn't happen. And it's fine because they'll have their chance. They will be the eventual MVP winners and all that stuff, but that's just not how basketball works. So yeah. Okay. With all this talk about contention, obviously we are a Laker podcast. We're Laker fans. You can see Matthew's jerseys in the background and stuff. So, as we think about the Lakers, my first thought, they're 11 games over 500, which is actually crazy to me. They're the 9 seed too. Um Comparing this year's team, not necessarily the players, but the playoff outlook to last year's team because we're kind of in similar spots. How do you feel more or less confident going into this round of play-in stuff compared to last year?
To be honest, I feel less confident, and it's partly because of players, but more so the just the path to get there. I mean, right now we're looking at the 9 seed. To first win a play on, then you have to win the second one on the road just to get to the 8 seed, and then you have to play the 1 seed. And then since then, it's 4 straight road series. You don't have a single home series. It's just tough. I think the one pro compared to last year is LeBron's health. I think LeBron last year was pretty banged up, and we didn't get the great LeBron. But it's I definitely feel less confident, but I do think there is a chance. I don't think it's impossible. I think if LeBron and AD stay fully healthy and they continue to ramp up like they've been, and they just go all in, if we have two of the best players on the floor who are going to be the most physical or going to be the most athletic, I think we have a chance in every series, especially if it's a good matchup. There's not like Aaron Gordon defending LeBron. Like I think there's good matchups for us in the playoffs that we might see.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everyone except the Nuggets. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but yeah, I think it's possible, but I definitely feel less confident than last year.
Yeah. No, I would agree. It's such a weird thing. Last year, the last year's team wasn't before the trade even wasn't as bad as people thought. They were 2-10 because they had historically, genuinely the worst shooting performance ever to start a year. But after that, they were like, for the rest of the season before the trade deadline, they were 5 games over 500 after that point. So like they were fine. They were a competent team, and then they made the trades and got way better. But I don't know, like this year's team is so much better than last year's post trade team. This is a very good team, and the like it's just so weird thinking about it because preseason this year, not even preseason, but after the offseason, every Laker fan would not shut up, honestly, including me, about how good this team was. And then they start well, they win the in-season tournament, and D'Angelo Russell stops playing well. Austin Reeves was bad. Rui is in and out of the lineup because he's hurt, and then he wasn't performing. Then Cam Reddish was starting every game. Like it's just so many self-inflicted wounds, whether it be rotation decisions or player performance, which is a lot of people don't really consider for some reason. The Austin Reeves was not good. D'Lo was not good. Rui was not good. Vando was in and out of the lineup. He tried hard, but he was very obviously hurt. Cam Reddish is not good. Like there was so much performance stuff that got us to the point where we are the 9 seed, despite being, frankly, a near elite team record wise since mid January. Like we've been so good for months now, but it doesn't feel like that because we're the 9 seed. So the energy is so weird to me. So yeah, I can't say I'm more confident. Actually, I wouldn't say I'm more confident. But I guess the way I would spin it is if they win the play-in games and they make the playoffs, I would be significantly more confident in this Lakers team compared to last year going into the playoffs. But with that being said, we actually have to win the play-in games. So right now we're the 9 seed, which means we have to win 2 games just to make the 8th seed as in the playoffs. It's going to be Lakers Warriors, assuming that they actually, before we get into that, do you think there's a chance they can get to the 7-8 seed in that playing game?
I mean, I think it's going to take just a total collapse from the Pelicans, which is possible, but as of right now, I think it's going to be Lakers Warriors, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Pelicans are actually the 7th seed, but we actually play them. So if they lose another game, we don't own the tiebreaker, so we need to win by 2 games. That's why we own the tiebreaker with the Suns, and they had this gauntlet of a schedule, but then all of a sudden every team started sitting players out when they were playing the Suns, and then the Clippers started sat Kawhi Leonard against the Kings. It's very funny how players just all of a sudden stop playing when the Lakers need the matchups. But whatever. Um, so yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be 9-10 Lakers Warriors. Um, it's a matchup that should not cause too much difficulty because the Warriors are not good. They just aren't. But it's Steph and it's our perimeter defense without Vando in the lineup or Gabe Vincent. Even though Gabe Vincent and Vando Gabe Vincent is back, but Vando theoretically can be back before the game. I don't know how much I would trust his foot. Like they said they're going to reevaluate him sometime early next week, which will give him at most 2 games. You know, one of those games is against the Warriors, so if he's back for that, we'll see how he works. But I mean, yeah, if we have a theoretical full strength Lakers, even with like a 70% Vando, this should not be a difficult game. It will be, and I'm expecting it to be, but just in a vacuum of basketball, the Lakers are much better than the Warriors. So, as it stands right now, the 7-8 game would be Pelicans and Kings. And I don't know how that would really play out. Those teams are kind of the same to me. If Ingram is out, I would expect the Kings to win, but they're out without Malik Monk and was it Murray that's out too? I don't know. They're without a couple guys. So it's just, oh no, Kevin Herter. I apologize. Kevin Herter's out. Yeah, I think we're gonna have a video like kind of laying this out more, but just generally, would Lakers have to play the Warriors or this, and then Suns, Pels, or Kings, probably like one of those three. With those matchups, what are you looking at? Not like real in depth, but generally, do you think that's a favorable position to be?
Yeah, I definitely do think that. I mean, I'm glad you point out it is going to be tough. Playing games are like the wild, or they're one game eliminations, like the wild card in baseball. It's going to be rough. It's especially in that 9-10. You win or you lose and your season's over. But I love the matchup against the Warriors. But like you said, Steph versus perimeter defense. And I mean, well, we've seen it 2021 playing, we've seen it last year in the playoffs. We won both of those. I think we definitely should be able to win that. It's a favorable matchup. And like you said, Pelicans Kings is kind of similar. I think it'll be interesting to see where that game's played. Right now, it'd be in New Orleans, but I think in Sacktown would be huge for the Kings. But I think, especially the Pelicans, I really like that matchup against them. I mean, I feel like we dominate them every year. It almost seems it's just a great matchup for us. And I mean, I saw funny. I saw a tweet that said being a Laker fan is great because we've been the ninth seed for about 3 months, but right now I feel like we're gonna win the championship. And I mean, that's really how I feel. I mean, I think if you go down the list, I like the matchup against every team except the Nuggets. But yeah, I think if you play the Pelicans, you have the two best players on the floor, you have the best defender in the world, and you have LeBron James. And we went to the Western Conference Finals last year. We're this team has experience. It's obviously LeBron and AD have experience, and they're two guys that when the playoffs come around, they're going to be the best. So I think if they're fully healthy, they need this game versus the Warriors versus the Kings versus the Pelicans. They're going to get it if they really put their mind to it and they have the performance like I expect them to.
Yeah, 100%. I you mentioned going down the list. Literally, let's go through that now. So we have Timberwolves number one, and I think we'll go through every team because the matchups are possible. But if we assume they're going to be the 9-10 seed, the Lakers are, which I am, the 1 seed and the 4-5 seeds are the most important in terms of matchups because that's the route we would be taking. But we have Timberwolves as the 1 seed. Um, immediate thoughts about that matchup. What do you think? Lakers do
I
the
mean, I
Lakers
think
have the
it's
advantage? Sorry, go ahead.
I think Yeah, I think. But the only tough thing is, let's say that happens 1 versus 8. We've already gone through 2 games on the or no, the first one be at home. We've gone through 2 games, and then we have to go to the road to Timberwolves.
Hmm.
I would fully expect us to drop game one, but I do think we can win that. I just think the lack. I think that's gonna be a huge series for LeBron. One, because he'll be matched up with McDaniels, obviously, and
Hmm.
we've seen bigger wings give him trouble. But the other thing is, I think that's a team where you're gonna need to go downhill. You're gonna need to run pick and rolls. You're gonna need Cat and Gobert to come up to have to defend the ball, and I think that's something we just lack. We don't have that slasher type player that can just. All right, well, Dinwiddie's helped, but we don't have that guy that can just go downhill, kick it out, or finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's not as favorable as a matchup like the Thunder or the Mavs or the Pelicans, but I think it's doable.
Yeah, for sure. I before we even got into this section, you mentioned LeBron's health being massive, which is very true. But even more than that, to me, even like obviously his foot being healthy was an impediment last season, but he could not shoot the ball. He could not shoot at all. Like he had games where he was 0 for 5, 0 for 8 from 3, and he's shooting 40% now. Like I genuinely believe, even with playing with 1.5 feet last year, if he just shot 38% from 3, he made 2 extra threes a game. Last season, we would have been in the finals. So with that, I think LeBron's shooting is the biggest factor right now because he needs to be able to I have a lot of thoughts in my head. I say that because and a video that I will be putting out soon, a breakdown video of why the Lakers and Nuggets always end up the same and the end of game situations are always the same. It's because when you have guys like Aaron Gordon or Timberwolves matchup Jaden McDaniels or even Ant guarding you, they're going to give you space because that's when you're not shooting because they if they have the ability to give you sag off of LeBron and not let him get like hip to hip with you so he can just body you out of the way. If you have the ability to stay step to step with him, you can not lock him up, but you could cause him very real problems. So if the McDanielses and Gordons of the world actually have to respect his shot, LeBron's gonna have such an easier time getting to the basket. And I mean, we saw that honestly against the Timberwolves in their last matchup. I know they didn't have the big guys, but McDaniels was there. He was trying to guard LeBron, and it just wasn't really happening because he was hitting his shots. So yeah, in this matchup, and basically every matchup, but especially this matchup with the Timberwolves, this theoretical matchup with the Timberwolves at least, LeBron needs to be hitting his shots. Rui is going to be massive because if they have McDaniels on LeBron, they'll probably put Ant on D'Lo to try to completely take him out of the game. Rui's gonna need to step up big time, especially if Cat's back and guarding him. Gobert's on AD, which is a story we've seen a million times, and I love that matchup. Obviously, we're gonna need. I don't even know who they run as their starters. The Timberwolves. Is it Alexander Walker with them or Kyle Anderson? I think Kyle Anderson's starting now. Regardless, it's LeBron's shot, and then one of D'Lo, Reeves, Rui being able to really step up in for a Timberwolves matchup. So I didn't mean to go super in depth because we're gonna do that whenever the matchups are set. But yeah, I think of the two teams, Timberwolves Thunder, where I personally had them in the same tier, Timberwolves definitely causes the bigger matchup concerns just because their profile of their team is much more like a championship contending type team. So yeah, I think the Lakers would definitely win that series. But yeah, it's gonna be a mind game for sure. Yeah. So now we move to the Nuggets, and they are currently tied with the Timberwolves right now. So realistically, that it's going to change. I think actually I might assume the Nuggets kind of take that 1 seed again, which would be a massive development for the Lakers or whoever's going to be the 8th seed, I suppose. But yeah, so like we see the Nuggets, and in the Timberwolves little segment, I mentioned the Nuggets because to me they're the very clear favorite in the West. They don't the Lakers like the only team. that has the theoretical equipment to guard them, and they just can't do it, or the way they play just makes them incapable of doing it. But before we get into that, just general thoughts on a Lakers Nuggets matchup again, man.
I mean, that's the last thing I'd want for us. And I mean, we could talk about this matchup for hours. I mean, it's just like, it's so fun. Like you said, we are the best suited to beat them. And we've, lost the last 8 games.
Yeah,
And every single one of them we could have won. So it's very, very frustrating. But at the same time, it's just, I know we're able to do it. I mean, the last game, it's like we're in it, we're up, and then just like a 10-0 run in the fourth, like it's nothing. But yeah, just to keep it brief before I like you said, you're gonna have that video out. We'll dive in deeper if that matchup comes. I think we do have the tools to beat them. It's just gonna take an unbelievable performance by everyone. And similar to Timberwolves, LeBron has to be able to shoot in that series. He has to be able to shoot. If he's struggling from three, it's gonna be tough because we've seen the matchup problems with Gordon, which I think is the biggest thing. And I think another big thing is the way we defend the Nuggets. I think last year it was just like double the best passing big man there's ever been with shooters around him, and it was just three after three. And then Jokic and Murray were just hitting everything. It was a ridiculous series. But yeah, just to sum it up, it's our toughest matchup, but at the same time, we're probably best suited to beat them.
yeah. I it's it's tough because I don't want to sound cocky in any way because there's no reason to be. The Nuggets have dominated us for 2 years now. But I would not be surprised if the Lakers beat the Nuggets. I would be surprised if any other team in the West beat them. That's probably how I would put it. I don't like if it's like honestly, I if the Lakers are going to play the Nuggets in the playoffs at any point, I want it to be the first round. I want it because the first round is the really the only round that they give you extra days in between games, rest wise, because there's so many games going on. They need to space it out during the week. So that's one. It's a big one. I think we kind of forgot that LeBron was going every other day for 2.5 weeks at that point, and he had no real time to rest, especially with the foot injury. So that's one thing. But two, I don't want to delay the inevitable anymore. I need them to play. I need them to get in while the Nuggets are maybe rusty game one. Regardless, I don't care. Whatever it is, they can beat them in the breakdown I'm going to be posting within a couple days or so. You'll see that they have been leading the Nuggets in almost every fourth quarter. The last game they played against them was the most frustrating because there were like 2 minutes left and they were up by 5, and they lost the game by like 10 points. They can't. It's the same thing every time. I'll get into that in the other videos because I'm already having to stop myself from talking in that video because I could make a 40-minute video about it. It's very frustrating. But like I said, they're the only real team I think that could beat the Nuggets. The Lakers are, and I don't know. I kind of just want it to happen. Honestly, we like. I think Gabe Vincent has a potential to be the biggest like turning point compared to last season. And I know he wasn't great in the series last year to begin with, but he I mean it's tough because he's been back for a couple games now, 2 games specifically, and he just doesn't touch the ball on offense like at all. There were 15 straight possessions, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but he was standing weak side corner watching LeBron or AR do a pick and roll on the opposite side wing, and he just legitimately did not touch the ball. So I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have offensively if that's what's going to be going on. But the theory of Gabe Vincent and honestly even Torian Prince, because last year we had no wings off the bench that we can trust at all. Like it was like, oh, I hope Troy Brown can play, and I like Troy Brown; he's fine. But we have more depth now. The Nuggets have less depth, but whenever they play them, Peyton Watson becomes a great player and everything. Like he could becomes consistent, and it's wild. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, dedicated video about this matchup coming up. Just generally, this is I would I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers won, but I would probably say the Nuggets take this matchup if you run it 10 times in a row. Unfortunate, but it's the reality. I think. I was long-winded with the Nuggets because when it comes to the Thunder, I don't think there's much conversation for me at least. The Lakers are winning this matchup if that ever happens. They've already beat them 3 times this year with like inconsistent rotations and injuries and stuff. The Lakers are just better than the Thunder. What do you think, Matthew?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Lakers take that. I mean, they're two best, or well, I know Shea's great, but two most physical, two most dominant players on the floor. We beat them 3 times. That's absolutely zero playoff experience for the Thunder.
Yeah.
LeBron's not going to find a way to lose that one.
Yeah, no, it's like I actually really like the individual pieces for the Thunder. Like if you put them on different teams to me, like Lou Dort, you make him a fifth option, good guarding, even like a six man, really all near elite defender type guy, incredible piece. J Dub is a great like secondary ball handler for. Honestly, his role here is perfect. He just doesn't have the current ceiling as a player to me to like be the second option on a championship team. So yeah, the Thunder either need to trade pieces and get a genuine massive upgrade somewhere, hopefully as a center, or they need to hope all of their guys take another very big step forward because their floor is really high, and that's what you want. Well, that's what Sam Presti wants. Their ceiling, this is a second round exit team to me, if I'm being honest. On maybe even first round if they play the Suns. But yeah, so that's the Thunder. Clippers Mavs again 4-5 matchup here. I if I had to guess, I think this will be the matchup, and I love that because I love watching the Clippers and Mavs play each other because they really hate each other. Luca hates the Clippers, and I appreciate that. But I think this is a very intriguing matchup Laker wise with either of these teams because the Clippers realistically they should not be stopped by the Lakers if you have Harden, Kawhi. Is never stopped by the Lakers. Just even when the Lakers have won these matchups, he had like 40 points. But PG, Harden, Kawhi, and even like Norm Powell off the bench, like offensively, it should be this is for the Clippers to win this series. It would need to be a massive offensive output, like back and forth scoring games, because they cannot stop the Lakers. Even when the Lakers are poor and they're shooting horribly, whatever the hell they were doing when they got blown out recently by them, the Clippers in a locked in series, they have absolutely nothing to contend with the Lakers are doing. Kawhi is a good defender. He's not what Kawhi Leonard that name brings anymore. PG is a good defender. They're just not what the names are. And those are the only two defenders they have on the team. Terrence Mann is fine, but he's 6'5", like he's undersized so yeah, I would expect the Lakers to win, but there's always a chance James Harden decides to play basketball and he can go for 40, and that would cover a lot of ground for PG's inevitable 10-point game. It's a tough matchup. I won't be a biased guy. I don't even hate the Clippers, but it's a tough matchup. What do you look at a Clipper matchup, Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely tough, but if I really think all bias aside, if I were to bet on it, I'd bet on the Lakers because, like you said, the Clippers have no answer for the Lakers. They have no answer for LeBron and AD. The Lakers are going to score. For the Clippers to win, they need, like you said, 40, 30, 30 from the three of those guys. And it's just, while it's possible, I think in a 7 game series, is it really doable to get that performance from those three guys 4 games in a row? We know the Lakers are gonna, we know LeBron and AD are gonna be able to dominate because they don't have an answer for them. But when it's a team like this where it's just three like heavy scorers, not great on defense, not really great anywhere else, I think I always go with the more physical team, the more dominant team, because that's something you can count on. You know LeBron and AD are going to dominate. Harden, I mean, we saw it that his last year in the playoffs with Philly. I believe it was last year. They were up 3-2 on the Celtics, I believe,
Yeah,
and he just disappeared. 51 game and then 10 the next. I think I can't really count on him and Paul George to do that 4 times in a 7 game series against the Lakers. So I think it'll definitely be tough because, like I said, that can happen in game 2, but will happen in game 3 and 4 and 5. So
yeah.
I think I'd pick the Lakers, but it's definitely a tough matchup
Yeah,
just because they have the ability to score so much.
yeah. I think of the two Clippers and Mavs, the Clippers is definitely the toughest matchup. I think that Luca's the best player from either team, but the Mavs just like where the Clippers don't have a lot on the perimeter to contend with the Lakers, the Mavs don't have anybody. Like Luca is an active black hole on defense. Kyrie, he fights. He'll put up a fight against like D'Lo or Reeves. So it'd be tough, and obviously covering them will be hell. But like they don't, they got Gafford, which was a great pickup for them, but he's not. He's just a good like solid little five. He's not stopping anything from anybody. LeBron or AD downhill, Rui downhill for that matter. So yeah, I think the Lakers would definitely take a Mavs series. Um, Actually, I don't even have much more to say. It would be a fun series. Luca's gonna hit some shots and probably win a game or two that is gonna really upset us. But yeah, it's the Lakers to me in this matchup.
Yeah, I think I will try to compare them to the Clippers. I think, like I said, Clippers don't have an answer for LeBron AD, but they have, some sort of perimeter
Yeah,
defense. Mavericks don't have an answer for AD, LeBron inside. They don't have an answer for D'Lo and Reeves. I mean, that perimeter defense is horrific. Gafford can't hang with AD, and I think it's as simple as that. Like you said, it would be fun. Luca would definitely have a 50-point game and take a few games, but
yeah,
they would need Luca and Kyrie to have 40 every night. And even if that happens, there's still a chance they don't don't win because they just have no answer for the Lakers, inside or outside.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, okay. So that's those matchups. 6 and 7. I don't think we necessarily need to focus on too much. Honestly, everything except after this, I think that's probably the main matchups for a playoff because we're not going to play 6. If we get up, we'll play 7. But so like stopping with the Suns, this will be the last one. If they get to the 5, which is very possible, they're the second team to me that is most dangerous to the Lakers, and also the second team to me that's probably the most likely to win a championship if it's not the Nuggets. Just because like it's the Clippers big 3 version whatever, but you just make all of them better. Kawhi and KD I'm willing to give a wash, but Booker is better than PG at this point. Beal is not as good as Harden as a play setter, but with the way the Lakers guard KD and Booker, he will be just wide open most of the time, which is what we saw when we played them with the big three. I mean, we were missing a bunch of people, but we got just annihilated, and it was very embarrassing. It's very tough to guard the Suns. It will be very tough for them to guard us, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I would want to see the matchup, and I do have confidence the Lakers could win a series against them. But besides the Nuggets, this is the second team where I'm like, yeah, I I'm not expecting the best going into that series, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I definitely think for sure the second toughest matchup behind the Nuggets. And I mean, that one is one I'll be praying Vando would be healthy for because
Yeah,
we would absolutely need him for, I mean, that the scoring they have is just lethal. KD, Booker, Beal. And it'll be tough, but it's kind of that same situation. They can't stop us. We can't stop them, really. I think for sure a 7-game type series. But I think I normally tend to go with the more physical team and just the history of basketball. I think really and I don't mean like just have the best center. I think just your guards, your wings, your bigs. I think being the most physical team is really what you need in playoffs. But I mean, we're not talking about like a team that can just shoot. The role players are shooting. I mean, you're talking about Beal, Booker, and Katie. They're gonna score,
yeah,
and I mean it'll be tough. Just to sum up, it'll be a tough series. I think it definitely goes 6 7 games, and I think it'll come down to how well the Lakers play in the fourth quarter, specifically on offense. Can they, can D'Lo be that closer? Can LeBron be that closer? I think it'll come down to to crunch time.
yeah. No, me too. 100%. The Suns. Every game we've played against them, we've had nobody, including Cam Reddish, to that could play their stars one on one, or at least nobody Darvin Ham trusts enough to let them play one on one. So that's why in the last game against him, Royce O'Neal had like 8 threes or whatever because we're trying to trap everything. I mean, they're not even real traps, which is another thing I get really upset about. The same way they double the Nuggets, they double team, even though they don't actually ever show on the defender. They kind of just play in the middle, so they can't help on Jokic, and they can't recover back to their man. So it's just a bunch of open threes. It's very upsetting, and I know you feel the same way. So, but with the Suns, I mean, this is putting a lot on Gabe and Vando, but those two are guys you put on a guy and you leave it alone. You expect them not to give up 40 points from a player. So if they can do that, especially with Vando, if you could put Vando on Booker or KD, either one, and feel comfortable not having to double every time he gets the ball, that changes the way you can defend. And we haven't had that in any of those matchups. So that's the biggest thing to me because offensively, I think they can go blow for blow. The Suns are not a good defensive team. KD tries to lock up and he's actually solid. Booker the same. Bleak Beal is not. Nurkic is not. It's just can it's how long can they defend one on one? Or when Booker's running his same double drag screens every play, like how much can we get away with trapping and recovering quickly, which is something Vando's great at. So yeah, one-on-one defense will be the key, and it's not clamping somebody up because that's not going to happen. But how often can you make them work and not just be a traffic cone? So yeah, that's a
Yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
sorry, real quick. Yeah, 100% agree. The one-on-one defense key. You touched on it, how upset it makes us. I'm so sick of the open threes because of failed double teams. But it is tough. We highlighted two one-on-one guys. The two guys we don't know because of their health. I mean, Vincent's played, Vando hasn't played.
Yeah,
It's just I think it's funny now. Like we're counting on those two guys to be our one-on-one guys, and they're both have health concerns.
yeah, it's tough, and that's the biggest thing. Honestly, that's the main reason despite my genuine feeling that this is a better team than last year, and I do think they legitimately can be championship contenders. They don't have any perimeter defense. Yeah, I mean, like with Rui, the offensive capabilities, as we've seen, just skyrocketed. The offenses have been incredible, production wise at least, because it doesn't really look great for some stretches. But yeah, it's just we lose so much on the perimeter defensively. I'm not saying I want them to change the starting lineup. I don't. It's just when those guys are in, when it's Vando and Gabe and Dinwiddie. Honestly, Spencer's been a very good, helpful defender. So like when those guys are in, I want to see how much that can change the complexion of the defense. But yeah, really excited. More like your content coming out soon. But any last thoughts before we get out of here, Matthew?
No, I mean I think we kind of touched over matchups and stuff. Stay tuned to more videos because then we'll really dive deep into roles. I mean, D'Lo, Reeves, and Rui are going to be absolutely huge. We didn't talk too much about them because, like I said, it's more matchup. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I think it's a great team. It's just more of a tough position to be the ninth seed.
Yeah, yeah. In spite of all that, feeling really hopeful. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Go Lakers.